Hello, I'm James E. Tokley Sr. I am the Poet Laureate for the City of Tampa and Hillsborough County, and you are watching Tampa Bay Community Network. Peace.
Hi, welcome to Culture Vultures. I'm Linda Saul-Sena, and I have a wonderful guest with me today, James Tokley, longtime friend, activist, and the first Poet Laureate for both the City of Tampa and Hillsborough County. Welcome, James.
It's an honor to be with you.
So I was trying to remember the first time I met you, and it was at the Tampa Museum of Art years ago, decades ago, and you were drumming and teaching kids about rhythm.
Oh, yes.
Rhythm and language.
Rhythm, language, and the wonder of words, metaphor, etc.
It was great because they were mesmerized by you.
Well, we had a great time. Once people realize, especially children, realize that words have wonderful power, their lives change. And
I know that that's true. One of my favorite things that my daughter said to me is, I don't really like reading. I just want to know how the story turns out.
Oh yeah. Well, guess what? That's me. I don't like to read. Just tell me the story. How's it? And people hate that about me because say, well, I went to the movies and I saw the movie and they stop, and then I say, well, what happened?
Of course.
And they don't want to tell me. They say, well, you go see. I don't care. If you tell me what happens, I'll go see it. If I don't like what happened, I'm not going.
Well, you want to know what's going on. You want to know where the adventure is.
I want the punchline. What's his name? The fellow who wrote Moby Dick. He used to have a way of reading books. He'd say, if I can read the first sentence and I like it, then I'll read the first paragraph. And if I like the first paragraph, I'll read the first page. If I don't like the first sentence, the first paragraph, or the first page, I'm not reading the book. So
there
you go.
So when in your life did you decide to start writing poetry?
Oh my. I didn't decide, it was decided for me. My mother was a lover of words, and even at my tender age of 3, she used to bathe me not only with soap water and sprinkle me with talcum powder, but she peppered me with words. And now, when I tell people this, they say you're lying, but I remember being 3 years old when my mother told me a story about the cat who went to visit the queen. And there were two words that stuck in my ear. One was cantankerous cat. It was a cantankerous cat. But the one that really faded me for the remainder of my life was rapscallion.
Oh, that's great.
And my grandparents raised me, but my mother would come from places far off, and she would bring the most wonderful books and things, and I began at that age falling in love with words.
Rapscallion.
I can't spell it, but I love it.
It's so flavorful.
Oh yes, indeed. And I love the way you use the word, because words are flavorful. Words have a bouquet about them. They have a taste about them. But you don't overdo it. You begin to sit down and deal with words as if you were sitting at a dinner table, because they're that wonderful. I'll stop.
No, please don't stop. Okay, so poetry.
Poetry. I was talking to the folk who brought me here about a scene that I witnessed when the great poetess Nikki Giovanni she was being featured at the USF Writers Conference over in St. Petersburg. And she got up on the stage. Nikki Giovanni was from a generation of poets who were very political.
Yes.
And so Nikki got up and she started talking about the economics and the this and the that. And all of a sudden, I'll never forget her. This middle-aged, well, I guess she was middle-aged. She might have been young, I don't know. This woman stood up and she said, I didn't come here to hear you talk about politics. I want poetry. And I think that kind of describes where I'm coming from. You know, even though I know that life is politics, life is politic, it's the poetry of life that really draws me in, and that I really want to share with people, that the human condition is a condition of poetry. and I've been successful in being able to do that. I recall when I was in, believe it or not, when I was in junior high school, and I was very handsome, though fat, you know, so I couldn't get a girlfriend. But one thing I could do was I could write poetry. And so the fellas would and this is true, the guys would pay me a nickel to write a poem for them so that they could get the girls, and I'd write the poem.
Are you serious?
As serious as I have never been. But anyway,
I'm impressed that junior high boys thought of writing girls' poetry.
Yes,
that was very strategic.
Yes, you know, and what is it? Roses are red and violets are green. You're the prettiest little girl I've ever seen, and you smell like lime. Anyway, and they'd give me a nickel, and I'd go get pretzels. So I got the nickname of the Pretzel Man. You know,
with your hard-earned gains.
Yeah, I didn't get the girl, but I got the pretzels. So it changed my life. I've been falling in love with pretzels ever since.
I love it.
Yeah.
The other singular event that I remember was this enormous banner being hoisted in downtown Tampa. And it was a poem.
Leviathan.
Yes.
Leviathan, and I brought Leviathan with me. Let me get it correct. It was 67 feet high, feet long, and 42 feet wide, and it was, are you ready for this?
Yes.
It was the largest posted poem in the history of humanity.
Yes, and it was in downtown Tampa, and I think students at Tampa Prep painted
yes,
it.
They did.
With Eileen Goldenberg doing the graphics, but you wrote the poem.
Yes, I wrote the poem, and it was on the side of the skyscraper that faced Tico Plaza.
Yes.
It was supposed to have been there for 4 years, at least. Something happened. It stayed up there for, I think, 2 or 3 months. I recall I used to drive by there with my carload of grandchildren. You know, I didn't have any money, but I said, I'm going to take you somewhere. I want you to see something. And we go by, and they say, Grandpa, what is that? And I said, what? Oh, I knew what it was. He said, that's just my poem, Leviathan. Oh, Grandpa. So this one particular evening, my grandchild, I gave a nickname, Granny Baby. Granny is looking, and she says, Grandpa, she says, where is it? I says, what? And he says, your poem, it's not there. I said, of course it's there. Where else would it be? But it had been moved. I'm told that someone purchased the building and they wanted to do something else with the space. So they did. But to this day, no one knows where that 67-foot by 42-foot poem went.
That's a lot to stash somewhere.
Yeah.
And I remember it's a huge task hanging it. Initially, you had giant moving machines.
You know, I was actually frightened to go up there. I don't do well with heights. I'm 6 foot tall. I don't do well with heights. And we went up there because we had to I think, sign it or do something. And people were taking all kinds of pictures.
Oh, I remember that.
That was one of the greatest moments of my life. I must say, if there was a camera around here, I'd look at it, but there's not one, so I won't look at it. But I will simply say to my fellow Tampa, Hillsborough Countyans, I love you so much. Thank you. There is nothing you could ever do that would mean more to me than the fact that you have embraced me as your poet laureate. And I'm also going to say this to Bobby Buckhorn. Mayor Buckhorn, you must look forward to having someone else to be poet laureate.
Why don't you explain that in case folks don't know what that means?
Poet laureate is an individual who is chosen either by city council or by the mayor or whatever to represent the city or the municipality that he or she represents ad infinitum. And
I remember President Obama has appointed several, and that's very exciting.
Yes, yes. As a matter of fact, when he became president, I wrote an inaugural poem for him, and it was his second choice. I got to read that inaugural poem at the Tampa Theater. And
I remember that.
Yes, yes.
Wasn't it during the swearing in was
yeah
put out by the Tampa Theater?
Yeah, she read the lady he had requested, number one, to read, and then I got an opportunity
That's
to read.
great.
But when I read for Governor Charlie Crist, that was wonderful. When I read for mayors Greco and Iorio, and I did do a poem for Mayor Buckhorn that he has. Those were just banner opportunities, things that I will never forget. My family will never forget. So once again, I say to whomever is watching this show, if you're from Tampa or Hillsborough County, I love you, and I'm not through. Not yet. Not yet.
Good.
Yeah. But anyway, I'll read the piece if you would have me
I'd
do
love
so.
to. This is the world's largest poem.
The world's largest?
That was
And-
on the side of a
Yeah.
skyscraper in downtown.
As a matter of fact, I'm told Guinness Book of Records considered putting it in or did put it in. So the fact that we had it, and the fact that it was not simply my piece, but the piece of young men and women, that's what was so wonderful about it, that they could drive by and say, "Mom, Dad, look, that's my thing up there." Which kind of broke my heart when they took it down for that reason. But the poem is entitled Leviathan. The first words that earth heard were mine. I taught seagulls how to sing. Before God fashioned humankind or the land of Eden, I was king. The mighty shark makes way for me, and the squid with her 1,000 arms surveys my kingdom cautiously, for fear that I may do her harm. But I am David of the sea, a bard with baleen dithyramb. 'Twas Homer learned his trade from me, whose epic poems predate man. And yet, within my verse resides the secret lore that Plato knew, the place where great Atlantis lies in all its splendor crusted through. I am Leviathan, sleek and black, the racing porpoise, Pelorus Jack, the throat that swallowed wise men whole, the bone that broke Nantucket's soul, the nightmare that poor Ahab knew, the harpoon mark that scars the blue of a breast filled up with mother's milk and spills vermilion on the silk. I am the whale whose spiraled horn protruding from its bulbous brow portrayed him as a unicorn, a tale hard put to disavow. And whales who would the will to fly on winged fingers over the sea, their full sopranos pierced the sky with siren songs that sing to me. For I am Gaia's other child, who tends her flock with a tender sweep, who smiles for you his monstrous smile and sings his verse from the briny deep.
That was beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
The words are so rich. So when you're writing a poem like that, are you fashioning it out loud as you put it together?
I fashion poetry as I go to sleep. I'm always in the process of fashioning poetry and storing up words to fashion poems in the future. This poem came together really years ago, and it came from Greek and Roman mythology,
Yes.
and from other things with the great porpoise Pelorus Jack, who actually lived, and for a while he would come to a certain bay, and the fisherman would look for Pelorus Jack, and he'd jump out, and show them where they could get the best, the bulbous brow of the what was it, the Norwhale. Who, or the narwhal, they call him, who actually has a
That's a true
tusk.
thing.
Yes,
I know.
Yeah.
I've seen pictures.
Yeah. So what I did was I put all these things together, and with metaphor and the other things, and came up with the piece that I did, and it worked. It lived.
So you sort of store up words and images
All the time. All the
That's
time.
great.
I'm doing it now.
Do you do it in longhand, or do you do it on a computer? Or?
Longhand, I do it. Although, when I edit my work, of course, it's on a computer, and usually by the time I edit it, it does not look like it did when I wrote it. But
Sure.
but I always carry, and I have here with me, a pad, and I've got my pens with me. So
I've been reading or listening to on tape books by writers recently, and
Yeah.
almost all of them talk about carrying paper with them so they can
Yes.
write down phrases or ideas or just little scenes
Let me tell you,
for future use.
I hate to say it. Somebody's gonna say he's lying. I have written on toilet paper.
That would be tough.
I know, and it was very, very.
Cocktail napkins, maybe.
Yeah,
Toilet paper is dicey.
I've written on napkins. I've written on the backs of programs, because sometimes you're caught without paper, et cetera. But there's always been something that I could get to, that I could put down something, and I always carry something, because you never know when the phrase to beat all phrases, the greatest phrase you've ever thought or heard, will manifest itself. So I always bring something.
So I want to know, when you're reading, do you underline? Do you push down the corners of books? Do you put
Yes.
stars by things?
Yes, I do. Once a book marries me, it is ruined.
No, it's not ruined. It's just marked up,
Yeah,
perhaps.
yes, yeah. The margin is another word for right on this page, wherever there's a white space, and I do that.
I love that. I love to read somebody whose writing is so compelling that you want to do that. You want to remember these phrases.
We've got, in our home, I would say at least 35,000 volumes of books everywhere.
Are they organized? Are they alphabetized?
Some of them are, until I get to them and take them in the bedroom and the bathroom. But I pity my grandchildren, whoever is going to come by and get what I leave behind, because they're going to have a mess trying to figure out what is what, or what Grandpa meant when he said that. This madman.
So as you look back over the many things you've written and the many poems, the many presentations, which ones really come to mind?
The one that started it all is Red Top Jive at 5.
What was that?
Red Top Jive at 5 was a mock ballad poem about where I lived, over top of the Red Top Bar on the corner of Nebraska and Cass in Tampa, Florida.
Was that across from the Tampa Union Station?
Yes.
I remember the bar. It was very dicey. It was supposed to be dangerous.
It was, and I lived in room 13. Over top of the, yes, I
Number
did.
13.
Yeah,
That's,
while I was working for the city of Tampa.
Wow.
I was as Tampa's first editor for the Bureau of City Planning. Roger Whaling, and I edited the Tampa 2000 Comprehensive Plan. But the poem was...
You're kidding.
Oh, I kid you not. The poem was a takeoff of the day in the life of what happened there. And up to that point, I was a free verse poet. And my father hated every poem I ever wrote free verse. He just did. And I wrote one, and I read it, and I said, "What do you think?" And he says, "That's horrible." That's how he talked. "That's horrible. People don't want to hear that crap." And he says, "People want rhythm and rhyme." So I sat down some days later, and I wrote this piece really for my father, and in remembrance of what I was living in. And it's called Red Top Jive at 5. And it goes, Boogeyman walking in the red top bar. Boom, boom, like it, boom, boom. My God, with flip top britches and the black cigar. Boom, boom, like it, boom, boom. Hot dog scene. All the lead drinking from a mayonnaise jar. Boom, like it, boom, boom. My God said, I know you're the boogie, but you going too far. Boom, like it, boom, boom. Hot dog scene. A big woman sitting in the middle of the street. Boom, like it, boom, boom. Hot dog with great big belly and husky feet. Boom, like it, boom, boom. Hot dog had stevedores coming by 5:30. Boom, like it, boom, boom. My God, just to see Big Mama when she shake that jive. Boom, like it, boom, boom. Hot dog. Now, if I could, I surely would just sit on the corner where Tampa Red stood. Boom, boom, like it, boom, boom. My God. Boom, like it, boom, boom. Hot dog. Now, I told you once, I won't tell you no again. Boom, like it, boom, boom. Hot dog. If you don't shake the booty, then you ain't my friend. Boom, like it, boom, boom. 25 cents, gonna buy one drink. Boom, like it, boom, boom. My God, don't give a good damn what the preacher man think. Boom, like it, boom, boom. Hot dog. Now, if I could, I surely would just sit on the corner where Tampa Red stood. Boom, boom, like it, boom, boom. My God. Boom, like it, boom, boom. Hot dog. Now, a news writer came one rainy day. Boom, like it, boom, boom. My God, just to listen to the brothers in the jukebox play. Boom, like it, boom, boom. Hot dog. Now, the very next morning, they were front page news. Boom, like it, boom, boom. My God, said brothers in the red top kicking the blues. Boom, like it, boom, boom. Hot dog. Now, if I could, I surely would just bop down the block where the black fox stood, and when I die, just bury me high up close to the stars in the red top bar. Boom, boom, like it, boom, boom.
Oh, James, that's so much fun. So how did this poem see or hear the light of day?
Let me tell you, at Grace's place, a bar in West Tampa, we went over there. It was Myron.
I don't know where Grace's
Myron
place is.
Jackson, Otis Anthony, yours truly. We went over there, and Grace was there, and she came out. The jukebox was blasting. Huh? If you can see it. She came out and yanked the plug out of the jukebox. And the people almost had a rebellion with, oh my God. She said, we're gonna have some culture up in here. We're gonna have some culture. I got some poets, and they're gonna read some poetry. Otis went first, and he read a piece from the last poets that fell flat. Oh my God. And then it was my turn. And I was writing out my will. But I read Red Top Jive at 5, and I got through the first stanza. And when I opened my eyes, people were stomping and dancing and boom, like, boom, boom, like. I mean, I'm talking about stevedores, longshoremen, you know, like. And that began part of a great experience. It went from there. I must say that thanks to my living over top of the red top bar and the things that went along with it, a movement began.
Well, and there are young people now in this town writing poetry
everywhere,
which is so exciting.
Everywhere.
I heard a group of young poets who were from West Tampa down at the Tampa Museum of Art. They were performing, and they were looking at images that had been created by I think it was Norman Rockwell. There was a show there, and they created poetry in response to the images, and they were great, and I was so impressed.
And you know what's so different about that is usually when you're around poets, you know, we
very proper, very
we
stuff.
are so maligned, and we get around and we always tell people about how unloved we are and nobody understands us, you know. That has not been my experience, and you know, people come out and they say, yeah, you know, I want to. One fella, I love him. He was a white fella. He came out. He says, Tokley, he says, that's not poetry you write, but I like it. I said, well, thank you, man.
That's not what I like about your work. Is it's very a visceral response. It's accessible and you feel it.
Thank you.
I've heard you do poems for celebratory reasons, for memorialized reasons, for a slew of different things. And your work is moving.
Thank you. I've done poems for weddings, funerals. The only topic I have not touched on is divorce.
That's probably a good thing. But let me go to one of my favorite things you've done. In Ybor City, when they were moving the houses out of the way of the interstate widening, and they moved them to where, what was it, St. Paul? What was the name of the school that you wrote the poem about?
Oh, yes. It's on 20th and Columbus.
St. Benedict the Moore
St. Benedict Moore.
When the nuns were jailed for teaching black kids to read.
Yes.
Because it was against a state law in
Yes.
like 1916,
Yes.
which is just so crazy. But that was a wonderful poem,
Thank
and
you.
it's in the sidewalk.
Yes, it is. It's what, 28 inches wide, and it's like 30 feet long.
Yes.
And it's what? It's
Embedded, it's inscribed in the sidewalk.
And you can walk by there and see it. There's that one. Then there's another poem that is outside of the Edgecombe courthouse, which
Yes.
is one of mine. Then if you walk across the street to the park that's across from the county building, you'll see one there. They just put the poem that I did for the Perry Harvey Park.
Yes.
Park there. There's one there. So and I think there's.
Oh, that's great. I haven't seen that
yeah,
yet.
yeah. They just did that last week.
Oh, so it's really up to the minute. Is there anything else you'd like to read before we wind up?
Well. Okay. I will read this one. This is called The Headless Biker. Okay, it's about Clearwater. We were on our way taking our grandchildren to Clearwater Beach, and we ran into an accident where a biker had literally been decapitated.
Ooh.
Maybe I shouldn't read that.
I don't think so.
I will read that. Oh my.
No, that's too grim.
Yeah.
You know what? Let's just.
I've got one.
Okay.
This is The Chronicler, and this is a free verse poem, by the way.
Okay.
It's about it's 911 and something. It says, I have borne witness to the sobering of America. As a country boy headed home from a segregated school, I held my heart as Castro and Khrushchev met Kennedy on a painted sea. My innocence was shattered at the deaths of my four heroes, the Kennedys, Martin Luther King, and Malcolm X, while I was still a boy. Vietnam startled my beliefs about a bloodless, blameless war, or a war that could be won by Hollywood. The death of my friends wounded my college books. John Lennon was taken before I had a chance to meet him in New York and offer him a cold one. And now New York has been taken. The twins, Romulus and Remus, knocked down and destroyed by reckless and self-righteous men. What I thought I'd never see are etched deep in my heart. As I said, I bear witness to the sobering of America. I am a living testimony.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
You know, we have all experienced a lot of tough lessons, but you encapsulate them in words that are so beautiful and make it as a gift, as a present to us, the public.
It is my gift, and you, as I have said, you all are my beloved family. My wife, my children, my grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and I thank you. May God bless you for allowing me to be part of your lives. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, James. It is a gift to the community that you're a member of our community. What a pleasure. Thank you all for watching today, Culture Vultures.